What is up, everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Fu Tweex, a documentary web series that chronicles my uncoordinated attempts at learning traditional Kung Fu. You may have guessed it, but I am, of course, Tweex. Thank you. In this episode, we're going to spend a little bit of time highlighting one of my greatest weaknesses. Now, as many of you may know, a key aspect to improving in a martial art is flexibility. Improving our flexibility not only gives us the ability to bend this way and that, but it also develops us in other key areas, such as strength, balance, control, and right now probably the most important to me is resiliency, or in other words, the ability to rebound and to recover from injuries and soreness. Up to this point in my training, I have seen improvements in my flexibility already. For instance, when I started, I could barely touch my toes. But now I can easily go much further, and it will only increase over time. However, there is a part of my body that is horribly inflexible, and when I stretch, it shows. To put it simply, I hate splits with a passion. You see, when I was young, I took gymnastics. I still remember to this day that whenever we did splits, I was always the worst in the class, and I hated how much they hurt. This particular area of flexibility has always been a hurdle for me, and really up until this point, I've never had a reason to try and improve it. Well, now I kinda have to. You see, being able to open my hips wider will affect nearly everything that I do. It will make all of my kicks straighter, higher, and more powerful. It will also allow me to sink down farther into my stances, such as horse stance, bow stance, and drop stance. And it's going to help build strength in my legs that's going to help me with my jump kicks. Bottom line, improving my flexibility in this area is going to help my Shaolin training tremendously. Currently, I'm working on improving this area in a few different ways. First off are the stretches. Up to this point in our training, we've learned a multitude of different stretches, but right now, I'm focusing on a few in particular. The list includes splits, both front and side, assisted splits with a partner, assisted leg lifts, the butterfly stretch, and the bullfrog stretch, and the bridge stance stretch. In addition to these stretches, I also found a wonderful video made by a woman named Jade, a world champion in Wushu, who created a wonderful routine at improving your splits, and it's this routine that I do almost daily now. The routine does look simple, but my legs are always burning by the end of it. For those of you who want to give her tutorial a try, the link is going to be down in the description. Be sure to check out some of her other videos and tutorials. Now, in addition to the stretches, I'm also using certain exercises to help me improve. The first exercise I'm focusing on are stretch kicks. These are the same stretch kicks that we learned when we first come into the Institute, and they are still beneficial today. To be honest, they will continue being helpful throughout my entire training. In addition to the stretch kicks, I'm also focusing on an exercise that we call windmills. This exercise is not only to help us develop our drop stance, which does help widen our hips, but it also teaches us how to rotate our bodies properly. And speaking of drop stance, I'm also focusing on the forms that require me to go down into drop stance, such as Wushu number 2, Wu Bu Chuan, and Lian Chuan. To be completely open and honest with you guys, if I take a look at all of my weaknesses and all of my struggles, this one right here is probably the one that has presented the greatest challenge and the one that I'm going to have to work the hardest to get past. My hope is that in the next few months, I'll be able to come back to this video with new video and new pictures to see just how far I've grown. Unfortunately, only time will tell. But in the meantime, I am going to keep working on it as hard as I can, and that brings us to the end of this episode. As always, let me know what you think about the show in the comments below, and be sure to hit me up with any questions or comments that you may have. If you like the show, be sure to give that little thumbs up button a click. And if you really like seeing my horrible splits, why don't you give the show a favorite? But until next time, my name is Tweex, this has been Fu Tweex, and I will see you guys next time. Zaijian.